Hey Eagles fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. And before we start today's video, go ahead and ask me a question down below in the comment section for our upcoming Eagles mailbag. So we did this last week. We had so many questions. I decided to ask you guys for some new ones because a lot of you guys were like, hey, answer my question. And I couldn't get to it because we had too many questions. So here's what you do to get on my mailbag video later on this week. Go in the comment section right now below the video, use the hashtag Eagles before your question, type your question, hit enter, and then wait and see if I get to pick it. Now, make it a good question. I'm not going to pick a bad question, right? I'm going to pick a good question. So, again, give me your comments and your questions down below, and I'll answer them in an upcoming mailbag video. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the latest Philadelphia Eagles news and rumors, and a lot of stuff has been going on with the Eagles' offensive line and how it's going to be, one, structured, and who is going to play the important position of left tackle because, of course, Jason Peters is not going to be there, at least still is not there. He remains unsigned. Now, the reports say the Eagles have had interest in re-signing Jason Peters, and yet here we are. Andre Dillard, right now, the former #1 overall pick or first-round pick of the Eagles, will be the starting left tackle for Philadelphia, barring, again, a Jason Peters signing. Now, Jason Kelece, the Eagles, of course, all-pro, all-world center, was asked about this in a TV interview just a couple of days ago and had a lot of high praise for Andre Dillard. Kelce said this, quote, "He's got a lot of things that are hard to get if you don't have them. If there was one weakness to his game last year, it was power. And that wasn't even that big of a weakness that we couldn't go out there and win. Now he gets a whole offseason." And Kelce went on to say it's a whole offseason to work out. The problem is that he needs to be in pads right now. He can only do so much virtually at home, which of course what the Eagle players are having to do. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. But if there is no Peters, then Dillard gets to start. And to me, Andre Dillard has to start. I understand the love for Jason Peters, and I said earlier in an earlier video, you sign Jason Peters, that's great. He probably would be the starter in the Eagles' eyes if they're going to give him more money to play well into his 40s. But for me, if you're going to spend a mid-20s draft pick in the first round on a left tackle, he's got to start sooner rather than later. If Andre Dillard is not able to start this year, is not ready to start this year, then it shows a failure in the Eagles in terms of the front office and Howie Roseman to draft the right players. There are a lot of starters in the first round of the draft that Andre Dillard came from, and if he's not going to be a starter right now, then the Eagles whiffed on the first round pick, and he will not ever, he would probably not hopefully, but he wouldn't ever really be a guy to actually start in the National Football League if he doesn't start sooner rather than later. Now, Andre Dillard, again, did have 4 starts last year when Jason Peters was injured. 1 penalty, 4 sacks allowed. Wasn't great, but also wasn't horrible. So my hope is he has, like Jason Kelce said, a full offseason, gets things figured out, works on his power, and comes in and becomes the left tackle of the future and the left tackle for the next 10 years for Philadelphia that the Eagles expected him to be when they drafted him with their first overall pick just a couple of drafts ago. Now, I trust him. I think he's going to be fine. Do you trust Andre Dillard? Let me know in the comment section right now. Do you trust Andre Dillard? Type Y down below for yes. Type N down below for no. The next topic here, of course, you probably saw and you probably clicked in the video because of this. We'll get a lot of topics and a lot of debate down below, and so I'm open to hearing what you guys have to say. But Carson Wentz is a top 5 quarterback. I'm saying it, and the NFL Network is saying it as well. Kyle Bradt on, of course, Good Morning Football, one of the biggest Carson Wentz fans outside of Dan Orlovsky right now in the national media, gave his ranking of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, and guess what? Carson Wentz was in that list. Now, before I show you what, of course, Kyle had to say about the top 5 quarterbacks and Carson Wentz, be sure to subscribe to Philadelphia Eagles Now because we just hit 10,000 subs here on Philadelphia Eagles Now, which is unbelievable in terms of your guys' support. Starting this, of course, a couple of months ago, and now being at 10K subs shows that we're producing good content and that you guys enjoy it. So if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and click the red subscribe button. Let's go to 15,000, right? We're at 10. Let's try to get to 15,000 subs here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. So, here's what the NFL Network's Kyle Bradt had to say about Carson Wentz, saying, quote, "Carson Wentz is fantastic. With all that talent that the Howie Roseman, sprinkled on him, if he can stay healthy, and I know it's out of his control and mine, Carson Wentz is a top 5 guy in football. Do not forget it. I don't think there's much at stake. Just stay healthy, be you, and you'll kill it." So you already know the cat's out of the bag. He did put Carson Wentz in his top 5. Question is, where did Kyle Bradt of the NFL Network place Carson Wentz in the top 5 in terms of the rankings? Well, here they are. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Russell Wilson. Number 3 is Lamar Jackson. Number 4, Aaron Rodgers. And number 5 right there is Carson Wentz. The 5th best quarterback in the NFL, according to the NFL Network's Kyle Bradt, is Carson Wentz. Now, I agree with this. I was asked by my producer, Alicia. She said, where would you rank the quarterbacks in terms of the top 5? That's pretty much how I would do it. I don't think there'd be a lot of changes overall. Mahomes, of course, is obviously the best quarterback in the NFL. Russell Wilson is grossly underrated by many, but those who know football understand his greatness. He's there at number 2. Lamar Jackson, to me, needs to show it one more year that he's not just a running quarterback, that NFL defenses aren't going to figure him out, but still, he is one of the 5 best. And despite Aaron Rodgers getting his successor drafted in Jordan Love and number 20, whatever it was overall for the Packers, he still is a bad man. He still is that sheriff down there in Green Bay. Wentz, though, is an elite quarterback. Philadelphia Eagles fans know this. The stats last year are back it up. The MVP season, what should have been the MVP season, back it up as well. He will be able to stay healthy in 2020. I'm a true believer that Carson Wentz, a lot of his injuries were not his fault. Obviously, Jadeveon Clowney spearing him in the back of the head on a cheap hit, to me, is not Carson Wentz's fault at all. So the top 5 quarterbacks, I think Carson Wentz has got to be in there. But of course, go ahead and debate it down below. How's this list look? Of course, debate it down below. The real question, though, I want to ask you guys is over-under for Carson Wentz in terms of touchdowns. Through 27 last year, will it be over-under 30 this year? I think over. I think they got at least enough weapons, at least better weapons than what he had last year. He threw 27 to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Greg Ward, Zach Ertz, and Dallas Goedert. I think he can do better with Marquise Goodwin, Jalen Reagor, and a healthy Deshaun Jackson. So let me know the over-under for his touchdowns in the comments section. Also, speaking of Eagles gear, if you guys want to get swagged out in authentic Eagles gear, we have the hookup for you guys here. Go to chatsports.com/Eagles shirt. That's the place to go ahead and pick up a shirt that doesn't look like this, but actually has Eagles logos on it, which is what you really want to be repping here as the Eagles get ready for the 2020 offseason, and of course the 2020 training camp and the 2020 NFL season whenever it gets underway. All the links are in the description, and of course you see all the gear on your screen right now. Speaking of the Eagles offseason, it's interesting what's going on obviously in the world right now, and how some states are opening and some states are closing, and people are asking the question, are the Eagles open? What's going on with the Eagles? Well, Doug Peterson was asked this in a TV interview a couple of days ago and mentioned that, hey, listen, despite the fact he can't meet with his players right now, and Philadelphia remains one of those closed states, so the Eagles will not be opening up their facilities like a lot of teams are doing today, of course, depending on when we watch this video, Tuesday. A lot of states, including Georgia and Texas, are, of course, having their NFL facilities opening up. Philadelphia is not one of those, by the way, so we don't know when the Eagles will open up, but hopefully it will be soon. But Doug Peterson is actually kind of enjoying this offseason, and I think is kind of taking the right approach to making sure his players are focused, locked in, and ready to go whenever they are able to return to the NovaCare complex. Now, before I give you what Doug Peterson has to say about the Eagles offseason, how many games are the Eagles going to win in 2020? I asked this earlier in an earlier video. I want you guys to double down. How many wins will the Eagles have in 2020? Let me know in the comment section down below. Here's what Doug Peterson said on TV a couple days ago in terms of how he's approaching the 2020 offseason. Quote, "Once the 2019 season ended, I hit the reset button, and I thought about what my new messaging points are going to be moving forward for the coming season. Quite honestly, it kind of fits in line with where we are with the pandemic and sort of self-quarantined at home and working from home. Virtual workouts, virtual meetings, things of that nature." He would go on to say that trust and trusting in each other is the big key word, the big word of the day, essentially, for Doug Peterson, who is known to be a very motivational speaker. If you watched any sort of behind-the-scenes locker room stuff, especially during the 2017 Super Bowl run, Peterson has a lot of one words. He says, today's word is this, today's word is that, focus here, focus there, and he was able to rally the troops big time in 2017. He almost did it again, despite Alshon Jeffrey's drop there on that final drive from Nick Foles in the NFC divisional game against the Saints. He's been able to do it time and time again. 3 straight playoff appearances, 4 playoff wins, and a Super Bowl. I think Peterson is approaching the NFL offseason in the right way, and at the same time, he's probably hoping that, just like all of us, a lot of places will open up very, very soon in a safe manner, and of course, the Eagles can get back to the NovaCare complex, complete the offseason rehabs, the Liz Frank injury of Alshon Jeffrey, and then just get to OTAs, the offseason workouts, all the mini camps, and then, of course, training camp at there in Philadelphia in the NovaCare complex hopefully is coming soon. There you go. I want to cover the latest news and rumors regarding the Eagles. Again, the top 5 Carson Wentz debate is going to be a great one. I'm very curious to see the comments on that. Hopefully, we all agree that he's a top 5 quarterback. If not, though, then I guess let me know. If you're one of those guys, let me know down below in the comments section. All time we have for today, though, on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I am Thomas Mott. We will sign off. Of course, plenty more videos in the upcoming days and weeks, including that mailbag, so stay tuned for that as well. Again, we'll repeat it. All time we have for today on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I am Thomas Mott signing off. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.